The double hex of the Voodoo divorce. The young attorney had just hurried into his office near the courthouse in downtown Miami to keep an appointment with a client who was suing her husband for divorce. When his secretary said, "Mrs. Williams is on the phone now. She said she won't be able to go to the hearing today." The lawyer took the call, his manner somewhat abrupt with annoyance. "What's this all about, Mrs. Williams? First you worry me to distraction about getting you an early hearing date, and then when I get it, you can't make it." "I'm sorry about this," the woman's voice replied weakly over the receiver, "but I'm so sick with a terrible headache that I can hardly stand to keep this telephone against my ear. I've had this headache for a week now, and I can't for the life of me see how I'll make it today." The attorney glanced at his watch. "It would be too late even if you did try to get here," he sighed. "Hang on, and I'll see if I can get a postponement." He pressed the hold button and made a quick and urgent phone call. After a brief but emphatic conversation, he returned to the line his client was holding. "All right, Mrs. Williams, it's okay. I was lucky enough to get the hearing postponed until Friday. That's 2 days from now, and it's absolutely a must that you be in my office no later than 1 o'clock. Is that clear?" There was a long silence before the woman replied. Her voice was anguished, and she seemed to be speaking with great difficulty. "The way I feel right now, I don't know. Unless this headache goes away by Friday, I don't think I'll be able to make it then, either." Exasperated, the attorney asked, "Have you seen a doctor?" "Yes, but he couldn't do anything." "Have you ever had headaches like this before?" "No, never." "Then what do you think is causing it? Are you worried about the divorce? Sometimes worry can cause a headache." After a long pause, the woman answered, "No, I'm not worried about the divorce itself. But you got me thinking." "Yes?" "You know our religion, we're Voodoo folks, you know." "No, I didn't know." "Well, like I said, you got me thinking. I'll bet my husband went and got the witch doctor to put a voodoo hex on my head." The attorney shook his head in disbelief as he looked through the connecting door of his office to his secretary, who was listening in on the extension. The girl blinked at him and nodded incredulously. "Well, maybe that's why I got this headache so bad," the woman continued, "but don't you worry, sir. I'll be at your office at 1 like you want me to. After all, I know how to fix it now." At 5 minutes before 1 on Friday, the attorney rose to greet his client, Mrs. Williams. "From that smile on your face," he said, "I'll say that your headache is cured." "It sure is," she laughed, going outside through the door he had opened to her as they prepared to walk together to the courthouse. "How'd you get cured?" he asked. They walked across the street and started up the courthouse steps before she replied, "Went to my own witch doctor, and I told him I thought my husband put a hex on me. Well, he fixed that right away. My headache went away quicker than you can push that elevator button." They entered the elevator cab as she continued, "So I fixed my husband good. He won't be here today at the court hearing." The attorney stepped off the elevator and gripped her arm, halting her in the corridor before they entered the judge's chambers. "What was that you just said?" She looked at him, a confident smile on her face. "I said that my husband ain't going to be here at the hearing. I got my witch doctor to unhex me and put a double hex on him." The lawyer laughed, and they entered the judge's chambers. His legal logical mind could not accept such superstition. A few minutes later, after they had been seated at the conference table, waiting for the husband and his lawyer to appear, the door finally opened. Mrs. Williams looked at her attorney and smiled knowingly. The attorney for her husband entered alone, looking rather harried and upset, and addressed the judge, who had been at his desk busily reading some documents while they waited. "If it please the court, I beg the court's pardon, and ask if this hearing can be postponed. The defendant, my client, Mr. Williams, is home ill." The judge removed his glasses and looked at the attorney. "What's wrong with him?" "He has a violent headache." The judge was obviously annoyed. He looked at the attorney and said, "We've already had too many postponements." "I know, sir, but—" "Denied. I cannot consider a headache a reasonable excuse from the defendant. The court finds in favor of the plaintiff by default." It would seem that even in a court of law the strange and mysterious workings of the supernatural can be manifested, and who knows how many other cases or kingdoms have been won or lost because of a voodoo curse.